Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that the biggest football match in the world wasn't decided on the pitch, not by the players, not by the coach, and not even by the referee. Sounds impossible, because football has always been about talent, passion, and the roar of millions of fans, right? Or at least that's what we're supposed to believe. But what if I told you the biggest battle in football isn't happening inside stadiums anymore? It's happening behind closed doors, in boardrooms, private meetings, luxury offices, and billion-dollar negotiations that most fans will never see. Because while we're arguing about goals, transfers, and trophies, someone else is fighting for something much bigger: control. Not control of one club, not one league, not even one country, control of football itself. And here's the strange part: most people don't even realize this race has already begun. Every year, billions of dollars flow into football. New investors appear, massive companies buy clubs, media giants compete for broadcasting rights, governments become involved, technology companies enter the game. At first, it all looks like normal business. Football is popular, money follows popularity. That's nothing new, but look a little closer, and a very different picture begins to appear. The same powerful organizations keep showing up, the same investors keep buying bigger clubs, the same companies keep controlling more competitions. Coincidence? Maybe. Or maybe. Football has quietly become one of the world's most valuable industries. An industry where influence can be worth far more than trophies. Because winning a championship lasts one season, but controlling the future of football could last forever. And that's exactly why this race has become so dangerous. It's no longer just about creating the best team. It's about creating the biggest empire. Think about it. Why would someone spend billions to buy a football club when running that club may never produce the same amount of profit? Why are investment groups suddenly competing to own multiple clubs around the world? Why are television companies paying record-breaking amounts just for the right to show matches? Why are countries investing billions into football projects? These aren't random decisions. They're part of something much bigger, something that's changing football without most fans even noticing, because the modern football industry is no longer just a sport. It's entertainment, it's business, it's politics, it's global influence. And every year, the competition to control that influence becomes more intense. Some people believe this money is saving football. Others believe it's slowly taking football away from the fans. But before we decide who's right, we first need to understand who is actually playing this billion-dollar game. Because once you see the people behind the curtain, you'll never look at football the same way again. If football is really becoming a billion-dollar battlefield, then someone has to be winning. But who? Most fans think the biggest winners are the clubs. The bigger the club, the bigger the money. Sounds logical, but football today is no longer that simple. Because behind every famous badge, behind every record-breaking transfer, and behind every sold-out stadium, there's an entire financial system working quietly in the background. Let's start with ownership. Years ago, a football club was usually owned by a local businessman, a passionate family, or people deeply connected to the city. Today, many clubs are owned by international investment groups, global corporations, private investment funds, and billionaires from completely different parts of the world. Why? Because football clubs are no longer seen as just football clubs. They're global brands. A successful club doesn't just sell tickets, it sells shirts, streaming subscriptions, television audiences, social media attention, sponsorships, tours, gaming partnerships, and worldwide influence. One successful season can create millions of new supporters across different continents. Suddenly, buying a football club isn't just buying a team, it's buying one of the most powerful entertainment brands on earth. But ownership is only one piece of the puzzle. Now something even bigger is happening: multi-club ownership. Instead of buying one club, some investment groups are buying several clubs across different countries. One club develops young talent, another competes in Europe, another becomes a place to loan players. Everything becomes connected, resources are shared, scouting is shared, technology is shared, player development is shared, even data is shared. Imagine playing a video game where one person controls multiple teams at the same time. That's how football is beginning to look, and that's making many people uncomfortable. Supporters ask, who does a club truly belong to anymore? The city, the fans, or the people sitting thousands of kilometers away, looking at spreadsheets instead of football pitches? And then there's television. Every time you watch a match, you're watching something that companies spent billions to broadcast. The battle for broadcasting rights has become one of the biggest business wars in sport, because whoever controls the screen controls the audience, and whoever controls the audience controls the money. But television is only the beginning. Streaming platforms are entering football. Technology companies are entering football. Artificial intelligence is entering football. Data companies are entering football. The game isn't just expanding, it's transforming. Every click, every ticket, every shirt, every social media post has become part of an economy worth billions. And while fans celebrate goals, another competition is taking place behind the scenes. A competition where the prize isn't a trophy, it's control. And that race is only getting started. So, who actually wins this race? The richest clubs? The biggest leagues? The wealthiest investors? Maybe. But history tells us something very different. Every time football changes, someone rises and someone disappears. Years ago, many believed traditional football powers would dominate forever. Then new clubs arrived, new leagues emerged, new money entered the sport, and the balance began to shift. Today, that shift is happening again, but this time, it's happening faster than ever before. Artificial intelligence is helping clubs discover young talent years earlier. Advanced data models predict player performance before a transfer even happens. Sports science is extending careers. Recovery technology is changing how often players can perform. Scouting has become global. A teenager playing on a small pitch can now be discovered by professional clubs from thousands of kilometers away. The football world has never been this connected. But there's another side to this revolution. As football becomes more valuable, the pressure to make money grows even bigger. More matches, more tournaments, more sponsorships, more streaming deals, more advertisements. For businesses, that's opportunity. For players, it often means heavier schedules. For fans, it raises a difficult question. How much change is too much? Can football continue growing without losing what made people fall in love with it in the first place? Because fans don't support balance sheets. They support memories, last-minute winners, historic rivalries, underdog stories, generations growing up wearing the same colors. Those moments can't be measured on a financial report, and maybe that's why this battle matters. The future of football won't only be decided by money, it will also be decided by the millions of people watching this game every single week. Every ticket bought, every match watched, every club supported, every voice heard. Because football has always belonged to the people who love it, not just the people who invest in it. The billion-dollar race to control football is real, but the final chapter hasn't been written yet. The next generation could experience a version of football completely different from the one we know today. Whether that future becomes better or worse depends on decisions that are being made right now, behind stadium doors, inside boardrooms, across television networks, inside technology companies, and in football academies around the world. Because the biggest competition in football is no longer just about lifting trophies, it's about deciding what football will become. And that decision could change the game forever.